Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I decided today to do the Goodreads BookTube tag, and I'm not going to have a long intro or anything. I'm just going to get right into it. So the first question says, what was the last book you marked as read? And if you saw my last video, the last book that I read was The 10 Commandments by Warwick Deeping. And this book is hard to come by. It was written in 1931, and I had to find it from a individual seller because it wasn't really on Amazon or anything. And it's an extremely old book. It's very fragile, and I believe it's a first edition. So I plan on preserving this book somehow. I don't know how to preserve a book, but yes, this was the last book that I marked as read. What am I currently reading? So, I'm currently reading Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon. I hope I'm not butchering that name. And I will say that I'm reading this because it is on the New York Times bestseller. But so far, I'm not loving it at all. It's a very forced read just to get it done. This book is a tome. I mean, it is 1,107 pages. I think that's a little ridiculous for a book, but that's just me. What was the last book you marked as TBR? And that would be 13 by Stephen Kavanaugh. Only because when I go on my Goodreads accounts, I like to really scroll through what everybody else is reading, and if someone has marked a book as 5 stars, I just automatically click it on my TBR, because I really love to open my horizons when it comes to books. My favorite books are classics and historical fiction as well as horror, but I don't like to minimalize myself into those sections. So yeah, I just like to keep an open mind, and I just TBR anything that I see from other readers that they've marked as 5 stars. Fourth question is, what book do you plan to read next? If I'm going off of the New York Times bestsellers, the next book I wish to read was written in 1932, and it's called The Harbor Master by William McFee. But as for what other people have voted 5 stars, I'm really digging my next read to be The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. Only because, like I said, I've seen so many people talking about this book and loving this book, and I just want to try it. Question 5, do you use the star rating system? Absolutely. My Goodreads has my list of 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star, as well as the just read and want to read. Once I read a book, I immediately, add my star rating, my review of it, and then I move it to the designated list of stars that I ranked it at. It's just my system. I like to see how many books I've loved and how many books that I hated. Question 6, are you doing a reading challenge this year? Yes, every year I like to set my reading goal of 50 books. I think that is very doable, a book a week. But life happens. So I like to give myself a little bit of wiggle room, or for example, if a book is huge, that's going to take more than a week to read. But yeah, 50 is around where I cap it at. Question 5, do you have a wish list? I consider my TBR and the original New York Times bestsellers as my wish list. Those are the 2 lists that I always go off of. Question 8, what book do you plan to buy next? The next 2 books that I plan to buy is the 2 that I mentioned, off of the New York Times bestsellers, which is the Harbor Master, as well as The Strange and Beautiful Life or Sorrow of Ava Lavender. Question 9. Do you have any favorite quotes? Would you like to share a few? A personal quote, or my two personal quotes that I use as motivation for me, not even even towards related to books, is if I haven't quit, I haven't failed. One day at a time, and it's not what you want, but it's how much you want it. And those quotes steer me towards motivating me to achieve things that I want in my life. But if I have to say memorable book quotes that I love that I cannot recite from heart, or just moments in books that have made me close a book and just sit there and digest what I just read, was the quote or the speech from To Kill a Mockingbird. And I read this book called The Invention of Wings. And there was a scene in that book where the mom was talking, and it was very prolific for me. It was a beautiful book. But as for book quotes, I don't really sit there and fixate on, I guess, the quotes of a book. Question 10. Who are your favorite authors? I would have to say definitely Stephen King, Dan Brown, James Patterson. I've started to love Jodi Picoult. I hope I said that name right, because I feel really bad with butchering people's names, but it just is what it is. I mean, when I do roll call in my classroom, I butcher pretty much everybody's name. So forgive me for that. But those are like my top authors right now. Question 11. Have you joined any groups? I actually have a adult book club that I go to once a month, like an in-person one, but sadly with the whole COVID thing, we had to kind of shut that down for a little while. We were using Zoom. But the book club, like I said, I love to venture out and read books that I would not normally pick up. And in this book club, we read a lot of the indie books off the indie list. Just, smaller writers who aren't so big, such as Stephen King and James Patterson, because I feel like there's a lot of diamonds in the rough. And, I love reading books. Sorry, I say a lot, and without editing of videos, I can see how it can become really annoying, and I apologize for that. And the final questions are there any questions you would like to add? For the Goodreads tag, any questions? I don't think there's anything that I would like to add. I think I'm more along the lines, if you would like to write a comment underneath the video of a book that you absolutely love and rated it 5 stars, please, comment the book title and the book author, and I would love to add it to my TBR. So other than that, that was the Goodreads tag. If you would like to friend request me on Goodreads, it's just my name, Angelica Nagy, and I hope to read more books with you guys.